Mr. Mallika Arjuna Rao as well, MD and CEO at PNB, and talk about how their quarter went by. Mr. Rao, great to have you on the show. Your gross net NPA, that stands at about 14.1%, which is slightly lower than the pro forma gross net NPA of 14.71%. Although you've reported profits, your overall stressed assets are one of the highest amongst the PSU banks. What's led to such high NPAs, you think?
See, there are two things. One is already PNB has been holding high gross NPA percentage for a long time. And there has been a considerable improvement in the last 1 year. Now, even though if you look at the outstanding level, either at the gross NPA or net NPA, compared to March 20 and in the March 21, figure remains the same. It is a flat. There is no increase in the number. However, in terms of the percentage increase is appearing because the credit growth has not been very high at the end of March 21. On the contrary, corporate credit book has shrunk by almost that is 3%. So percentage terms, it is more elevated. Coming to generic observation, yes, compared to many of the public sector banks, our gross NPA is high, whereas net NPA is in a controlled position, even though currently it is appearing at 5.7, only because of the pro forma NPA, because of COVID, what has happened, there was an increase in the higher element of slippage. But the same slippage, once again, we are expecting to go down by way of recovery in the NPA accounts and also controlling the slippage. In the next 2 quarters, that is quarter 1 and quarter 2, we expect a better position in terms of the slippage. So one reason is because corporate gross NPA has been high in PNB for quite some time, where we have been endeavoring to reduce that to a greater extent. Second is because of the pro forma NPA, the slippage have been high. Third is because of the advances growth not being there, in the percentage terms, it is looking elevated, whereas outstanding figures remains the same in both gross NPA and net NPA compared to last year.
Right. The COVID second wave, Mr. Rao, has been very severe. Tell us a little bit about the impact on the collection efficiencies on the various segments, and if you could give us a geographical state-wise breakup as well.
See, COVID, one impact was nullified almost by way of various measures taken by the government of India and RBI. As a result, the economy started coming back from October onwards. Once the COVID impact number 2 came, it has been more severe. More severe in terms of impact on the lives, more severe in terms of the effect on the people to get hospitalized sociologically. With respect to economy, when the economy started doing well after absorbing one impact, when the second impact comes, it is more pronounced because the time available to their disposal for recuperating themselves or coming back to normalcy was not there. So the major affected areas are MSME, because MSME are units where they will not have very high cash surplus. In the aftermath of COVID-1, they were given emergency line of credit by way of 20% up to 25 crores, which was increased to 50 crores. And later on in the month of August, they were identified some stress sectors up to 500 crores also. This facility was extended under the government guarantee. Now, those who are trying to come back to normalcy, where again COVID-2 has come. So if you look at today, even though the slippage looks elevated across the banking industry, in terms of retail and agriculture, I expect retail to settle down in the next 2 quarters, that is by June and September, whereas MSME stress will continue for some more time, which need to be addressed more effectively. That is the reason why RBI has come out with second tranche of OTR for MSME segment. So we expect that if the things improve and we come out of the COVID by June end and economy is looking back effectively, during the current financial year, there will be good position of improvement in the MSME segment.
So what kind of rise or what kind of uptick do you expect in NPAs in the next 2 quarters?
I do not expect gross NPA and net NPA to increase in the next 2 quarters. On the contrary, it will go down. Further 2 reasons. One is credit growth will be there. Second is in real-time outstanding, the reduction will be there in gross NPA and net NPA definitely. So we are very confident of controlling the percentages in the next 2 quarters.
And specifically, how much do you expect to come via the NCLT route?
See, at this point of time, it is really very difficult for us to estimate for the entire year of recovery because of the COVID. We would be having a correct estimate when we declare the results for June. However, to have an estimate up to June, we have identified that recovery and upgradation should be at least 8,000 crores by June 2021. So in the current quarter, already 2 months are passed, third month is running. We have already got 3,000 crores recovery and reduction together. And another 4,000-5,000 crores we are expecting during the current month, where it will go up to 8,000 crores. Overall year estimate we'll make in the month of when we declare the results of June, because NCLT cases also we have to look at and see how it is going to pan out post-pandemic, post-COVID second vertical wave. Coming to a couple of accounts, for particularly DHFL account, in the month of March, we have received money from Bhushan Power, which was the NCLT settled account. DHFL is the one where we are expecting recovery during the current quarter, but we'll have to wait and see because the case is in NCLAT, while the resolution process is almost in the final stages. Other than this, not very bigger accounts are there, small accounts are there where we are expecting recovery, but our proper estimate would be much better when we declare the results at the time of June.
And what have you made of the kind of steps that have been taken by the Reserve Bank for measures for the MSME or bottom of the pyramid, and what more do you think needs to be done?
The current measures declared by RBI are sufficient because RBI has been very sensitive in the last 1.5 years, particularly when the COVID onset has come in our country. So they have come back with every policy declaration, measures in such a way to maintain liquidity in the position, provide relief to the banks in terms of provisioning, in terms of the restructuring window, and government also has supplemented by providing the emergency line of credit. Now the question is, from October onwards in the last year, we have seen good amount of order book building up with MSMEs. As a result, we were expecting MSMEs stress to come out. The only surprise was COVID second wave. However, across the globe, if you look at currently, COVID second wave almost has receded, particularly in the Europe and US-based Western countries, where our exports are many in various sectors. So I'm expecting that July onwards, the order book once again will build up in terms of the MSME segment, and the next 9 months will be proper. That is the reason why RBI also has, though reduced the GDP estimate, they have put at 9.5% in the current financial year. So MSME's order book will be much better from July onwards. Already some of them are in a better position, but execution and creating the operating cycle to get back the money is the one which takes time, maybe 1 month, 1.5 months.
Okay. And post the recent developments in PNB Housing Finance regarding Carlyle becoming the promoters, what was the rationale of cutting the stake in PNB Housing, and what is now going to be your total shareholding?
See, we are not cutting the share of our stake in the PNB by reducing or selling our stake. There was a requirement of capital for PNB Housing Finance Limited. It is not new. For the last 1.5 years, they've been trying, and our bank also wanted to contribute initially through rights offer. Because we already hold 32.62, as per the regulatory guidelines, we need to bring below 30%. So we were contemplating contributing through rights issue, and again the company was also contemplating to go through QIP in a combined way so that we were to reduce below 30% and company get a capital around 1,800 to 2,000 crores. However, since we could not go forward because of the regulatory requirements, there was a necessity for the company to individually go into the market for the QIP. Now, considering the requirement of capital and also the position of COVID-1, COVID-2, and the potential which the PNB Housing Finance is seeing in the days to come, the requirement of capital also has enhanced. So based on those requirements, and the existing investors have come forward to invest in the company. So as a result, our stake is expected to go down since we are not contributing. And you have seen the response of the market, valuations have increased, and PNB will also have a better position in terms of valuations.
So what kind of royalty will PNB get because of this new deal?
The royalty is already defined in the agreement, that is a trademark agreement, which was earlier agreement also. In that, only the difference was 26% was the benchmark below which PNB stake should not go as per the original trademark agreement, first trademark agreement. Recently, when we have re-entered, it was brought down to 20%, whereas royalty is payable if the stake goes below 30%. So naturally, royalty will continue to be paid by PNB Housing Finance.
I'm just going to take a very quick detour and mark what is happening to the markets right now. Meanwhile, it's not one of those days where a lot of excitement is there in the market. But yeah, banks are looking stable and banks are looking to consolidate. I think that's evident. Impact on the capital ratios post the recent capital raising, and has because the credit offtake has been muted so far. So while you've raised capital, could that have impact on your return ratios because of muted credit growth?
Right. Our objective in the current year ended March was, because it is a consolidating year of merger of two banks and also legacy related balance sheet items where rationalization was required, the credit growth was muted. During the process, we have reduced our outstandings in pool accounts. We have reduced bulk deposit amounts from 50,000 crores to 20,000 crores. So various measures we have taken to rationalize the balance sheet to protect the income from earning assets so that profit is maintained. So in the process, the credit growth has been muted. Last year, we have taken an approval for raising 14,000 crores capital by way of Tier 1, 81 bonds, Tier 2 bonds and QIP. 81 bonds for 3,000 crores, Tier 2 bonds for 4,000 crores and QIP for 7,000 crores. And we have already taken from the market 4,000 crores, that is exactly 3,994 in terms of Tier 2 bonds, and 495 crores against 3,000 target in 81 bonds. With respect to QIP, in the first tranche in the month of December, we have taken 3,778 crores from the market. And again, in the month of May, we have taken 1,800 crores. So overall, if you look at 10,077 crores, we have taken from the market from QIP, 81 and Tier 2. And at the end of March, our capital adequacy ratio stood at 14.32 and 11.5 CET1. With this 1,800 crores taken in the month of May, if you count that as well, 30 basis points will be added. The capital will become 14.62 and 11.8 CET1, which is very sufficient currently with respect to the bank. And we have also controlled in the process the risk-weighted assets impact. So as a result, as on today, we don't require any capital. We declared the results of June, looking for the future. And if there is any necessity, we'll look at that. Otherwise, all regulatory requirement we are satisfying. Over and above the regulatory requirement also, we have sufficient capital to take care of the growth objective for the current financial year.
And the Reserve Bank has maintained a status quo on rates. What's your outlook on the measures that have been taken by the Reserve Bank, and what is going to be the impact on your treasury book?
See, treasury book, we don't have any impact because last year we have already earned 4,395 crores, which was the highest in the history of PNB. Similarly, this year as well, I'm expecting the growth income from treasury could be there in the Q1 and Q2. That is, H1 would be better. We'll have to wait and see how H2 will be spanning out, because already the interest rates have bottomed out. In order to continue the sentiment, because COVID impact is there, the RBI has not touched the repo rates. They have maintained in the last 4 policies. High amount of liquidity is available in the market. However, we are not seeing high amount of demand by way of new ventures coming in the investment. But we expect that the government's policy declared through the budget in terms of investment in infrastructure, road segment, port segment, and aviation segment, it will start kicking off from next 1 month or 2 months onwards. Thereby, we see some credit growth. Now, the other objective of the RBI is to control the inflation, which they have kept at almost 5.1 projectile up to March 2022. The GSAT, by introducing, the RBI is also trying to protect the yield in such a way that it will not go beyond the limit, wherein probably the government will have an opportunity to borrow further in the market. So considering these factors for some more time, the interest rates will remain. If at all there is any possibility of upward, there may not be any downward. Upward based on the inflationary pressures in the days to come, there could be a review in H2 of the current financial year.
All right, thanks very much for joining in and sharing with us your outlook on the overall earnings as well as the road ahead for PNB. That's the view coming in. Let's shift gears.